Sunlight spills through my parents' bay windows and scatters into the crystal, throwing tiny rainbows over the formal table. Tradition sits heavy on my shoulders as I smooth a burgundy linen napkin across my lap and breathe in the slow-cooked comfort of Mom's pot roast. At the head of the mahogany table, Dad carves with the ease of a man who's led 1,000 Sunday dinners. Each slice landing neatly on the Wedgwood china he saves for occasions like this. Just a small piece for me. Dad, I say. He doesn't look up, doesn't hear me, or pretends not to, and serves a generous slab anyway. You're too thin. Gabrielle, he murmurs, as if it's a fact and not an opinion he's repeated since I was 14. I'm about to remind him that he ate. I can manage my own portions when the front door bangs open. The peaceful tableau fractures. Vanessa sweeps in with Mark and their 3 kids, a flurry of backpacks, bickering, and heavy footsteps. Sorry we're late, she announces, not sorry at all. Her eyes spark with a giddy excitement that puts me on edge. Traffic was terrible by the outlet mall. You went shopping before Sunday dinner? I ask, but the question is swallowed by Mom's delighted cooing over her grandkids. Dad catches Vanessa's eye and gives a small nod, the secret signal I've known my whole life. The one that always means a decision has been made without me. Well, we're all here now, Mom says, clapping softly. Charles, finish serving so we can eat while it's hot. We fall into the well-rehearsed ritual of passing bowls and polite chat. Mom asks about my latest project. Dad quizzes Mark about the market. The kids stage small rebellions against Broccoli Dot. Then Vanessa lifts her voice, bright and practiced. We're moving into your lake house next week, she says. Our foundation has issues. My fork stalls halfway to my mouth. What? It's just sitting empty, Gabrielle, Dad says, calm tone. Watchful eyes. I get the blue bedroom, Vanessa's oldest declares, bouncing. No. Grandma said I could have it, his sister counters. Their argument dissolves into the hum of cutlery and chatter. But the truth is clear. The bedrooms are already assigned. This wasn't a spontaneous idea. This was a plan. Your place has plenty of room, Mom adds, in the tone that ends discussions. It's only temporary. 6 years. 6 years I poured into that lakeside home. I paid $420,000 for it. Another $95,000 in crucial repairs. And fought that flood alone while they cruised somewhere warm, mopping up water and tearing out moldy drywall until my hands ached. That house isn't a spare key on a family ring. It's where I relearned how to breathe after my divorce, where I stopped triple-checking locks at night, where I found my footing again. Family helps family, Vanessa says, slipping into her sermon voice. We do the same for you. 7 months, Dad adds like a concession. Mark stares at his plate. I set my napkin down. A quiet sound, but it turns heads. Mom waves off my still unspoken objection. Gabrielle, you're always particular. This is what families do. Dad's tone dips into authority. We help each other. Vanessa's lips curve with the confidence of someone who has always taken what she wanted while the room applauded. Not this time. I draw a crisp manila folder from my bag and lay it on the table. The contractors start Monday, I say, opening to the signed renovation contracts and stamped city permits dated 3 months ago. Full gut. 9 months. To the studs. Silence lands like a curtain. Dad's knife stills above the roast. Mom's glass hangs midair. Vanessa's smile collapses. You can't be serious, she blurts out. We already gave notice. Where are we supposed to go? I sip my water, the crystal scattering light. Memories unspool. The borrowed car gone 2 months. The windshield already cracked. The $3,000 loan that somehow became $18,000 and never came home. The spare key she had cut so she could shower at my place unannounced. A whole scrapbook of lines crossed. You'll need to find somewhere else, I say evenly. Demolition starts Monday. Be reasonable, Dad says, setting down the knife. His corporate negotiator voice slides into place. Your sister has 3 children and a house with foundation issues, Mom chimes. They can't live there. I agree, I say. They should find housing that isn't mine. Vanessa exchanges a look with Dad, the same silent relay I saw when they siphoned my college fund to pay for her wedding. The choreography is so old, I could mouth the lines. We've already booked the truck, Vanessa says, pivoting to pleading. It's coming Monday morning. This will break your father's heart, Mom whispers, reaching for his hand. My phone buzzes. Miguel, my contractor. Materials delivered. Ready for Monday. 7 a.m. Another ping. Smart locks active. Warmth unfurls in my chest. Preparation, protection, a plan. What about storing furniture? Mark ventures at last, still studying mashed potatoes. Just the garage. The garage becomes a gym, I say. Everything goes. You'll regret choosing wood and drywall over blood, Vanessa hisses, summoning tears that appear right on cue. Dad leans in. Gabrielle, this could affect certain future decisions. The inheritance threat, right on time, and the children. Mom pleads. They'll be homeless. I fold my napkin slowly, crease by crease. The weight of their expectations presses and lifts. Poor planning on your part doesn't create an emergency on mine, I say, meeting Dad's eyes with his own favorite mantra. I rise, collect my bag and the folder. I've honored my contracts. Please honor my boundaries. Sit down, Dad orders, voice hardening. We're not finished. I am. Vanessa's oldest blinks up at me. But I told my friends about my lake house bedroom. It isn't your bedroom, I say gently. And it isn't your lake house. I walk to the door. Voices follow, angry, pleading, outraged, but I don't turn back. The door closes with a soft click that feels more final than any slam. Outside, the air smells like leaves and freedom. By the time I reach the highway, Dad has called 12 times. Only then do my hands wobble on the wheel, adrenaline. Knocked out Dot at a rest stop, I ring Miguel. Confirm the security system is fully operational by morning, I say, and put the dumpsters in front of the garage. I'm concerned about unauthorized access. Already planned, he says, smiling in his voice. After the flood mess you handled alone, I figured they might try something. Shaking eases. Thank you. See you Monday. A text from Vanessa arrives. Dad's furious. Fix this now. I silence my phone and drive into a deepening indigo sky. Tomorrow, they'll escalate. For the first time, I'm ready. Monday arrives on the rumble of an engine that doesn't belong to me. I pause at my apartment window, mugworm in my hands, watching a moving truck grind up the narrow gravel drive to the lake house. The logo on the side is the exact shade of Vanessa's lipstick at last week's ambush. Dad has called 5 times since dawn. I let the phone glow and go dark. By the time I reach the property, Ray's crew has staked the place like a fortress. Orange cones create a perimeter, sawhorses block the drive, permits are posted, and the morning smells like pine and sawdust. Miss Morgan. Ray nods, clipboard ready, 6 hard hats at his back. Demolition permits up. Interior strip starts in 30. Perfect. I scan the tree-lined lot and spot an intrusion, my sister's truck idling at the road. They arrived 10 minutes ago. Ray says, voice neutral. Said they have your permission. The truck door bangs open. Vanessa strides out, sunglasses perched like a crown. Color rises in her cheeks when she sees me. What is this? She gestures at the cones, the crew, the equipment. They won't let our movers through. As I told you last Sunday, I reply, lifting the folder of permits. The renovation begins today. The house is not habitable. You can't be serious, she says loudly enough to draw stares. We gave notice. Where do we go? I pull an envelope from my bag. Here's a 6-month storage contract paid in full. Her eyes drop to it, then flick away. Storage? We need a place to live. Your housing is not my responsibility, I say, the words easier now. Foundation issues don't appear overnight. She studies my face, hunting for soft spots. Finding none, she pivots to brute force. I still have a key, she announces, sweeping toward the door. I follow at a measured pace. She jams her key into the lock. It doesn't turn. She twists harder. Welcome to Secure Home Systems, the small speaker chirps. Unauthorized entry attempt detected at main entrance. Alerting property owner and security services. My phone pings. Vanessa whirls. You changed the locks. Last week, I say, nodding at the discreet cameras glinting beneath the eaves. Police are automatically notified. It's standard. Her composure cracks, entitlement showing raw beneath the gloss. You can't do this. We're family. Family respects boundaries, I answer, steady. The security company calls. I confirm it's my sister, not a stranger. When I look up, she's stalking back to the truck, gesturing at Mark. He slumps, complicit, and weary Ray approaches. We're ready to start. Expecting interference? The truck engine roars. Instead of turning around, the driver veers off the gravel, bouncing onto the lawn to skirt the sawhorses. Tires crush ornamental grasses I planted last spring. The ramp drops. Movers begin unloading. Vanessa steps down looking victorious. Since you won't be reasonable, she announces, we'll store things here until you come to your senses. The first piece, Grandma's mahogany dresser, thuds onto the grass. I don't raise my voice. I raise my phone. Lakeside Auction House? I say, eyes on Vanessa. Yes, please proceed with the pickup we discussed. Donate all proceeds to the foster youth program. Vanessa's triumph stutters. What auction house? The one I called yesterday, I say, nodding toward the growing pile of furniture. I anticipated this. Ray clears his throat. Begin demo around the furniture? No need, I say, signing his final authorization. Anything left outside storage is removed today. The day unfolds like choreography I rehearsed alone. Sledgehammers swing. Studs emerge. Furniture multiplies on the lawn. Vanessa cycles through fury and tears. Mark coaxes her back into the truck with promises to fix this tomorrow. 2 days later, my phone detonates. You heartless witch. Vanessa screams. They took everything. Those were heirlooms. I step out of the gutted master, now a frame of sun-splash beams, to hear her over the saws. Then they shouldn't have been dumped on property you don't own. Her rage ricochets, then thins. I've documented everything, I continue when she pauses for breath. Photos of abandoned items. Security footage of the attempted break-in. The police warning for trespass. It's all on file. Silence, stunned and seething. The property manager has instructions, I add. You can visit with advance notice. Mom and Dad are coming, she snaps at last. They'll talk sense into you. I check my watch. Rico, the foreman, gives me a thumbs up. Perfect timing. As I hang up, a hammer breaks through the last interior wall of what Vanessa once claimed as our master suite. Sunlight pours through the newly opened frame like a benediction. I inhale sawdust and possibility and feel, for the first time in years, that the air here is truly mine. The security chime pings 2 cars approaching. I step onto the porch, plans rolled in my hand as my parents climb out, the lawn now a work site instead of a stage. Hammers echo. A compressor hisses. The house I fought for is shedding its skin right in front of them, double quotes, Ms. Morgan. Where do you want the drywall stacked? Rico calls. Along the east wall, I say, pointing past the place where Grandma's sideboard used to sit. Cover it if there's a chance of rain. Dad's gaze sweeps the scene, jaw tightening. Mom's hand rises to her mouth. What have you done? Dad shouts over the saw. Exactly what I told you, I answer, walking toward them in dusty work boots. 9-month renovation. To the studs. Inside, the living room is bones and light beams exposed, fireplace stripped, subfloor bare where glossy oak once shone. This is madness. Mom whispers over the radio's classic rock. You've destroyed it. I'm rebuilding it, I say. My design. My schedule. Dad scans with a businessman's eye. Excessive. Stop now, and we can still arrange space for Vanessa. A laugh escapes me, surprising, unbothered. That's not happening. His expression clouds into the old storm. You've never understood family obligation. I can cut you out of the will. 6 months ago, that would have gutted me. Now it lands like a memo I've already read. You already did, I say plainly. When I refused to co-sign Mark's bad deal last year, Mom gasps. Dad pales. Vanessa told me, I add, picking up the blueprints. Said you rewrote the will to protect family assets, her words. Mom's eyes film the weaponized tears of my childhood. Gabrielle, think of the children. I am, I say, nodding to Rico. How's the reading nook? Framed and ready, he calls, pointing to the cozy corner per my drawings. Mom blinks. For whose children? For the foster youth program, I answer. Same one that'll get the auction proceeds, 12,000 so far. Dad's eyes narrow. Vanessa said you sold heirlooms. Items abandoned on private property, I correct gently. The auction house documented everything. Mom clutches Dad's arm. Charles, she's made us look terrible. People are talking. I open my phone to Vanessa's now deleted homeless family. Posts followed by the community's replies praising the donations. Public shaming loses power when the truth is public, I say, sliding the phone away. Dad's shoulders lower a notch. Negotiator mode shifts from demand to deal. Let's discuss options, he says. Perhaps a compromise. Progress small, real. The renovation continues, I say, nodding toward workers, carefully removing framed photos before tomorrow's demo. But I'll help Vanessa find housing she can actually afford. Mom's voice edges toward cautious respect. That would be appreciated. My phone vibrates. Security confirmation, no more unauthorized attempts. An email, official donation receipt from the auction house. A text from the deck crew, progress photos. Dad studies the blueprints despite himself, admiration creeping in. Ever had to strip a place back to rebuild it right? I ask quietly, sometimes it's the only way to make it yours. Mark's name flashes on my screen. I step aside to answer. I'm sorry, he says, subdued. For my part in this, I should have spoken up. Foundations are hardest when they're boundaries, I say, but they hold. Behind me, hammers sing, the house rises, one beam, one nail. One line drawn, an honored dot 3 months into the renovation. I accept a dinner invitation that feels like a replace same formal dining room. Same burgundy napkins, same crystal prisms scattered across a Persian rug. Even the pot roast returns, as if scent alone could rewind time. Your mother made it just the way you like, Dak says, carving with careful, deliberate strokes. His voice has that careful, casual tone he uses before a negotiation. It smells wonderful, I answer, settling my napkin. The table is set for more than 3. Are we expecting someone? Mom and Dad trade that old, silent look, the baton pass before a coordinated push. We thought it'd be nice, Mom says, arranging a smile. Family's been scattered. The bell rings. Dad's shoulders loosen a hair. I'll get it, Mom says, and disappears. Gabrielle, Dad murmurs. leaning in once she's gone. I spoke with the Hendersons. You remember John from the club? He thinks your approach is severe. I sip water slowly. I wasn't aware the Hendersons were stakeholders in my home. Community matters, he replies. People talk. They always do, I say, setting down my glass. They were quiet when I mopped floodwater out of my living room alone. Footsteps in the hall. Mom returns with Pastor Williams, our family's longtime minister and one of the few voices I've consistently respected. He pulls out a chair beside me. Gabrielle, he says warmly. I hear you've undertaken quite a project. Transformative, I reply, acknowledging the stage my parents have set impartial referee, moral gravity. I don't bristle. I brought my own evidence. Mom dishes plates. We were just discussing harmony, she says, and how decisions might be adjusted for the greater good. The children miss their aunt, Dad adds, pairing sentiment to strategy. I reach calmly into my bag and place my tablet on the table. Then let me show you what's actually happening. The first photo fills the screen, scaffolding hugging my lake house, morning light cupping its frame. I swipe, day 1, studs and shadows. Day 30, rerouted plumbing, electrical mapped in clean runs. Day 60, a great room soaring with newly vaulted ceilings. Pastor Williams leans closer, taken in despite himself. My. I keep swiping. The kitchen emerges, reclaimed oak beams, custom cabinetry, an island big enough to land a conversation on. The master suite, once Vanessa's target, now opens to the lake through wall-to-wall glass and a slim balcony that nearly broke the structural engineer and my budget, but not my will.mom single quotes as fork pauses midder. It's completely different. That's the point, I say. Another folder, the project timeline I created 5 months ago, along with the pre- and post-renovation valuations. Projected value up 40%. Dad's expression tilts reluctant respect creeping in at the edges. He recognizes good planning when he sees it. He raised me too. This isn't about punishing Vanessa, I say, placing the tablet between the salt and the truth. It's about honoring a plan I made long before her emergency. I open one more file, Storm Week photos. Waterline halfway up the first floor. Bloated furniture. Black mold blooming like bad news. Invoices total $28,000. Screen cap texts from that week scroll past. My requests for help and their replies from a cruise deck. Pastor Williams is quiet. Dad studies his plate. Mom's face goes pale. Boundaries aren't cruelty, I say softly. They're adulthood. For a heartbeat, no one moves. Then Mom says, to my shock, I should have helped you. No excuses. No addendum. Just the truth. The front door swings open. Vanessa strides in with the wind, primed for a fight and finding, instead, a stillness she can't read. Her confidence stutters. What's going on? She asks, looking from faces to tablet to faces again. We're discussing the lake house, right? We were, I say, rising, sliding the tablet back into my bag. I've updated everyone on the renovation. She waits for the trap to spring lectures, guilt, a jury. It doesn't. When it's finished in 6 months, I continue. You're all welcome to come as guests by arrangement. I set a cream card on the table. Housewarming is March 12th. Nobody speaks. In the silence, I hear it. The click of a pattern breaking. I leave without drama. The way you leave a room that no longer fits. Twilight rests over the lake as I drive, and I picture my home wrapped in scaffolding and determination. Changing whether anyone endorses it or not. Peace, I'm learning, isn't surrender. Sometimes it's a spine. 6 months after the ambush dinner that started this chapter, the renovation is complete. Sun glitters over the lake and throws a quiet constellation onto my bedroom ceiling. I step onto the new balcony with coffee warming my hands. Down below, the kitchen gleams copper, oak, stone, everything chosen, nothing inherited by obligation. Last weekend, friends filled the rooms with laughter that curled up the stairwell and came to rest. Content, and the rafters dot my phone buzzes. Rachel contractor turned friend. Still can't believe we pulled this off. Favorite project ever, I smile, remembering her raised eyebrows on day one. You want to get a perfectly good house? She'd asked. I did. Now she tours potential clients through with permission. Always with permission, and brags about my stubbornness as if it were a design feature. The doorbell chimes. I glance at the security feed. My parents on the porch. Dad shifts from foot to foot. Mom cradles a small jade plant like an offering. I press the intercom. Come in. The lock clicks. They step inside as if the house might ask them to leave. Dad tips his head back, taking in height and light. Mom lingers by the dining table, the same spot she once imagined as a homework station for children who never lived here. This island. Dad says, then loses the words. Remarkable. Truly, Mom echoes, setting the jade plant on the console. I pour coffee into heavy hand-thrown mugs. They circle, slowly pausing at the photo wall. Hiking trails, finished projects, friends on the dock at sunset. No family portraits. Not because I've erased my history, but because I've finally curated it. This is who I am now, I say. Not defiant, not apologetic, just accurate. Dad nods. Eyes landing at last on the quality behind the design. You've built something exceptional. The compliment isn't a key back into my life. It's simply a true thing said aloud, and I accept it for what it is. That evening, a few people dropped by Rachel with champagne. The security team with a silly gift basket for our most prepared client. Even the auction house owner with photos of a community center furnished by what Vanessa dumped on my lawn. First matching set they've ever had, he says, eyes bright. The director cried. My phone lights with a text from Vanessa. I'm sorry about the furniture. Can we talk? I consider. Then type dinner next month. Bring dessert. No housing discussions. A boundary that leaves room for a bridge, but not for trespass dot at the door. Dad hesitates. Respecting boundaries isn't cruelty, he says, repeating my words from months ago. It's adulthood. Hearing them in his voice feels like the last nail set flush. After everyone goes, I walk the dock alone. Evening drapes violet and gold across the water. My reflection looks back, steady. The house behind me hums a sanctuary built beam by beam and boundary by boundary. Peace doesn't ask me to be smaller. It asks me to be clear. The formal dining room looks almost identical to the night of the ambush. Burgundy napkins folded neatly, crystal shimmering, pot roast steaming in the center of the table. But this time I notice the differences, my posture straighter, my hands calmer, my heart no longer pacing to their rhythm. Your mother made her specialty, Dad says, carving as if precision will soften the tension that vibrates in the air. His tone has the forced smoothness of a man about to negotiate a hostile deal. It looks delicious. I reply evenly, unfolding my napkin. Though I notice an extra place setting, Mom's eyes flick toward Dad, that familiar silent exchange, one of the thousands I've witnessed since childhood slides between them. We thought it would be nice, she says lightly. It's been too long since we all gathered. The doorbell rings before I can respond. Dad relaxes a fraction, relief showing in the set of his shoulders. Mom rises quickly, her hand grazing his arm. I'll get it. He leans forward while she's gone, lowering his voice. Gabrielle, the community notices things. The Hendersons say your decision looks harsh. People are starting to talk. I sip water, taking my time. Let them. No one talked when I patched flood damage alone. Funny how their concern only appears when it serves a story they prefer. He opens his mouth, but voices in the foyer interrupt. Mom returns, ushering Pastor Williams to the table. Our longtime spiritual guide, another neutral, brought in as leverage. Gabrielle. Wonderful to see you, Pastor says warmly, settling beside me. I hear you've been busy with renovations. Transformations, I correct gently, noting the setup but refusing to bristle. Mom beams, ladling food onto plates. We were just discussing family harmony, she says, and how decisions might still be adjusted for everyone's good. Pastor folds his hands, listening. Dad clears his throat. Families help each other. That's how it's always been. I pick up my tablet from my bag. Then let's look at the reality. Images fill the screen one by one. The lake house wrapped in scaffolding. Studs laid bare. Workers hauling debris. Then the newer frames. Vaulted ceilings glowing with fresh light. A kitchen island wide enough to gather around. Glass walls that spill the lake into the room like a second horizon. Pastor leans in, eyebrows lifting. My goodness, this is extraordinary. It's not punishment, I explain. It's purpose. My plan, drawn months before Vanessa's sudden crisis. Mom's fork hangs frozen. Dad's expression twitches, businessman recognizing foresight. I swipe again. Storm-damaged photos appear. Mold rising like black lace on white walls. Receipts for the $28,000 repairs. The unanswered messages I sent while they were sipping cocktails on their cruise. The silence grows taut. Boundaries, I say, aren't cruelty. They're adulthood. For a long moment, no one speaks. Then Mom whispers, almost to herself, I should have helped you. The front door opens again. Vanessa bursts in, righteous and ready. Her stride falters as she catches the unfamiliar quiet, the tablet on the table, the stillness in my posture. What's happening? She demands. We were reviewing progress, I say calmly, slipping the tablet into my bag. When the house is finished, you're welcome to visit as guests. I lay a cream card on the table. March 12th, housewarming, you're invited. Her face tightens with confusion. No allies rally to her side this time. I stand, smoothing my jacket. Good night. Their house shrinks in the rearview mirror as twilight folds around me. Ahead, the lake glows with construction lights. My sanctuary continues its transformation, indifferent to pressure or gossip. 6 months later, the work is complete. Morning sun glitters across the water, painting my ceiling with diamonds. I cradle coffee and step onto the balcony, the lake a mirror to my new beginning. Below, the kitchen gleams copper fixtures, reclaimed wood, stone countertops I chose myself. Last weekend, laughter filled the rooms during my first dinner party. Friends who respect boundaries, not people who trample them. A text arrives from Rachel. My contractor turned friend. Still can't believe we did it. Favorite project ever. I laugh softly, remembering her shock the first day. You wanted to tear down a perfectly fine house? She'd said. Now she tours potential clients through my home, always asking first, always with permission. The doorbell chimes. On the camera, my parents stand at the porch. Dad shifts his weight. Mom clutches a jade plant like a peace offering. I unlock the door remotely. Come in. They enter cautiously, their eyes widening at the vaulted ceilings, the sunlit walls, the clean sweep of reclaimed oak. This is... Dad starts, at a rare loss. Remarkable, Mom finishes, setting the plant on the table. I serve coffee in mugs I chose. They walk the room slowly, studying framed photos of my life hikes, sunsets, finished designs. Not one obligatory family portrait in sight. This is me now. I say softly. Dad nods, reluctant admiration edging into his tone. You've built something extraordinary. And for once, it isn't negotiation. It's acknowledgement. That evening, the house is alive with voices, this time chosen ones. Rachel arrives carrying champagne, laughing as she kicks off her boots. The security company sends a basket tied with ribbon, a card tucked inside, for our most prepared client. Even the auction house owner stops by, proud to show me photos of the community center, now furnished with the pieces Vanessa abandoned on my lawn. The director cried. He tells me eyes warm. Said it's the first time their kids had a matching set of furniture. I swallow hard, pride catching in my throat. What once was weaponized guilt has turned into genuine good. My phone buzzes. A text from Vanessa. I am sorry about the furniture. Can we talk? I pause, considering. Then type slowly. Dinner next month. Bring dessert. No discussions about moving in. A boundary softened with invitation not erased. When the guests trickle out, Dad lingers at the door. For a long moment, he studies me as though weighing whether to speak. Finally, he says, respecting boundaries isn't cruelty. It's adulthood. Hearing my own words in his voice feels like the last beam set into place. A structure finally sound. Later, I step down to the dock. The evening settling over the lake in purples and golds. The water laps gently, the reflection of my home glowing against the twilight sky. For the first time, the image that looks back at me is steady. Unshaken. Peace, I've learned, doesn't demand sacrifice of the self. It doesn't mean endless compromise or carrying others' chaos as my burden. It means clarity. It means choosing. Behind me, the house hums with life rooms reclaimed, walls rebuilt, each decision mine alone. Ahead, the lake stretches wide and calm, the horizon soft but certain. I close my eyes and breathe deeply. This place, this moment, this peace, it isn't borrowed. It isn't begged. It's built. And finally, it's mine. To new beginnings, she says, pausing as her gaze lands on me, and to our extraordinary daughter. The words settle over me like snowfall, gentle, quiet, undeniable. For years, I would have given anything to hear them. Now, I don't need them, but I allow myself to receive them. Not as a validation of my worth, but as a recognition long overdue. Later, I stand in the doorway, watching the scene. Children doze on laps, adults swap stories, laughter weaving through the house like music. For the first time in my life, the picture of family in front of me feels whole, not because it's perfect, but because it's honest. Snow falls steadily outside, layering the grounds in soft white. Inside, the glow of the fire paints everyone in shades of warmth. And in the quiet of my heart, a truth settles like a steady ember. Family isn't just blood. It's the people who show up, who value you, who stay. Being excluded from their table gave me the push to create my own. And here at this table, no one is left out. Next Thanksgiving, I'll make it even larger. Because everyone deserves a place. The snow outside deepens into a soft white quilt, muffling the world beyond the estate. Inside, the warmth of laughter, the scent of pine, and the glow of candlelight fill every corner. Later that night, after the last of the dishes are stacked and the children tucked into guest rooms, I find myself standing by the window with a cup of tea. My parents are across the room, speaking in low voices with Grandma Margaret. Their tone is less defensive now, more tentative, as if they're practicing the language of humility. Melissa sits near the fire with her husband, her children curled against her like kittens. I take in the scene, the kind of gathering I once envied in their home, and realize something profound. It doesn't matter that it took exile to create this. What matters is that it's here now, under my roof, in a home I built with my own hands and choices. The next morning, sunlight glitters off the snow, turning the estate into a winter postcard. Family members linger over breakfast pastries, their voices still filling the space with warmth. When they finally depart, they leave behind non-emptiness, but a residue of joy woven into the walls. Days later, I receive a text from my father. Dinner next week? Just us, no agenda. Just dinner. I stare at it for a long moment. It doesn't erase the past, but it signals something new, a willingness to meet me where I am. Instead of demanding I shrink to fit their expectations, I type back, yes, but on my terms. Weeks pass, and the holiday season winds down. Snow continues to blanket the grounds, quieting the world outside. I decorate the house with soft lights, not for show, but because they make me happy. Sometimes I host friends, sometimes family, sometimes no one at all. And each time, the house feels complete not because of who's inside, but because it reflects the boundaries and values I finally claimed. On New Year's Eve, Melissa calls. Her voice is tentative, almost shy. Brianna, can we start fresh? I think of all the years we spent as rivals, puppets in our parents' silent favoritism game. I think of the Thanksgiving where everything fractured, and the Christmas where something began to heal. Yes, I tell her. But this time, we write our own rules. She exhales, relief heavy in her tone. Deal. Months later, spring creeps in, thawing the lake and painting the maples in green again. Standing on the balcony of my New Hampshire home, I look out across the land that once felt like nothing more than an expensive investment. Now it's a sanctuary, a place rebuilt, not just in structure, but in meaning. I think back to that text message that started it all. This year, it's just Melissa's family. Hope you understand that at the time, it felt like rejection. But now, I see it for what it was. The spark that lit a fire I should have ignited years ago. Exclusion freed me. It forced me to create something better, something lasting, something my adult family isn't about who claims the head of the table. It's about who values your place at it. And as I look out over my land, my home humming with memories of laughter and light, I know this with certainty. Peace doesn't come from being invited. Peace comes from building your own table and making sure it's big enough for everyone who truly belongs.